What do you do when your podcast live streaming show doesn't go as planned or your guest doesn't show up? I just did a whole episode where I was talking, and I've been doing this for 5 years, and I still had a hiccup where I wasn't on the screen and I was talking, and I was like, wait a minute, the video is not there, and I had to delete it. So, in this short episode, I'm going to share with you some tips on how to get past that so that it doesn't happen to you. My name is Shri, and I am I'm a social media manager who helps doctors and lawyers gain an edge online. We help you create content that connects with your future potential patients or clients. Now, when I started this show 5 years ago, I was having a hard time. Sometimes some of the guests wouldn't show up. Now, as much as I would follow up in the DMs, I learned really quickly how important it is to have a invite. Whether you use the calendar invite off of your phone or you have a Calendly, TidyCal, whatever it is, it really helps because you want to make sure that this event is on their calendar. And in my case, today's guest, we spoke when she booked, but at the same time, I have a bunch of reminders in the calendar invite. I'm not sure, but most times the calendar invite is on the person's calendar, whoever books. So the next thing that I learned is you have to make it clear what is to be expected of your guests when they come on your show. In the beginning, I didn't have that. But then I learned how important it is. Okay, you know what? Let them know who's my audience? What kind of questions am I going to be asking? What is it in for them? Because they're giving me their time and they are giving me knowledge. I need to pay them back with something. And so for my show, and especially, I would explain these are entrepreneurs who are in the beginning stages of their journey, or they've been in business for less than 5 years, but haven't experienced some things that you have. And so they're going to learn. Now, sometimes you have guests who are like, well, I don't want to be on your show. That's okay. Not everybody is, going to be for your show. And I've learned that too. I'm not for everyone's show. But as long as I have an understanding of who's the audience, what way that I need to focus the topic on, then it makes it easy. I've been on podcasts that talked about grief, that talked about mental health, abuse, because these are things that I have dealt with, but they're not my topic of focus. But that's what that podcast is. And so I was sharing my story in that moment. Now, the next thing that I would share is, what do you do if the technology doesn't work as it should? In my case today, I ended up saying, you know what, I'm not going to have that podcast episode or that live streaming show be on the platforms. I'm going to delete it all and I'm going to come back again. And sometimes you can't do that, but if it's possible, you can always go back. Let's say the sound isn't right because it's a pre-recorded episode. You can always get back to the guest and say, look, the sound quality wasn't as expected, and I would like to rebook you. You can, as for a live streaming show, sometimes you can't, there's just so much that happens, but it makes it fun. I've had experiences where the dog was barking the whole show, but we made it work. Or in my case, sometimes there's the lawnmower person, because usually I do this show earlier, but sometimes I do pop-up shows, and they would be in the middle of the day, and I would have the lawnmower man come out and be there. So sometimes you can't get away from your external, like it's out of your hands, but you can always think about this. If it's possible to go live again, do it. If it's a possibility to bring back the guest because it's a pre-recorded podcast, do it. Something else that I've learned that in this 5 years of podcasting is you can have everything set up. I have what's called automations. So not only do you get a calendar invite, but there's also questions that I ask. And then I set up an automation so that it automatically will send reminders to you even the day of the show. Because I've learned the day of the show, people have a lot going on in their life. Emergencies happen. I have had guests who never replied to any of the emails that I sent. Now, when I say I send, I actually send emails, personal emails, outside of the automation that gives a little bit more detail. That way, this guest can get in touch with me in multiple ways. You may think it's crazy, but in the last 5 years, I have seen it work. So, in my questionnaire, I also put in my questionnaire, I also put, hey, what's the best contact number for you? And so when they put that, it helps me be able to get in touch with them just in case something happens. This is one of few times in the last 5 years where I couldn't get in touch with the guest at all. I called, I text, nothing. They received all the emails, all the reminder text messages that I've set up through Calendly, and nothing. So I will tell you in the last 5 years, you can have automations with emails, you can have their phone numbers, and it's just to make sure everybody's on the same page because, again, it's my time and your time as well. And lastly, I will say this: always have Plan B prepared. Whether it's a podcast or a live streaming show, always have Plan B ready to go because you never know when you might have to pull from it. And so, if Plan B is you're going to talk about X topic, that's the topic that you're going to talk about. So for me, I thought it was most relevant. Talk about what happens when technology doesn't go as planned or the guest doesn't go as planned. But in my mind, I have been doing this for so long that I am aware to always have a plan B. I always have a topic ready. And again, I love what I do and I love sharing tips like this with all of you. So to recap this whole thing, if you have a podcast or live streaming show and you want to get guests, make sure that you have a calendar invite set up to go out to your guests. Second, if you have a form, make sure on that form, ask questions about them, but also ask questions to make sure you can get in touch with them. So get their phone number. And the next thing is have Plan B ready to go because just in case the guest doesn't make it, you have an episode ready to go. Because if you are posting an episode every week, you want to have that episode ready for your audience. They're waiting for you. So always have Plan B. And then if the technology doesn't go as planned, don't get frustrated because it just happens. And you can't really do much about it. I mean, you can, but you can't. But just have a smile and make the most of it. So if you have questions, make sure to drop them in the comments. I will make sure to answer them. But until my next live, have a wonderful day or evening. Bye.